If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer.
I have to say that I'm not surprised that that I have a classmate who's running for president and that it's Barack Obama, because even as kids, I think it was pretty clear that he was a very special person.
You know, when my grandparents moved here in 1959, 1960, it was because they understood that this was going to be the new frontier. This was part of the American dream, this opportunity to move west and get a fresh start and create a better life for your children and your grandchildren.
I think you learn much more about somebody by knowing what their early years were like, what atmosphere were they raised in, what kind of values were instilled in them at birth and when they're little kids. I don't think the apple falls too far from the tree when it comes to character, when it comes to personality. If you can look at the early years of someone, you can get a very, very good idea of the foundation that they'll have in terms of the person they present to the rest of the world. And he grew up in Hawaii.
In 1963, we had another president visit us, President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And I was a much younger man then, barely 9 years old. But I never forget what he said before he left these islands. He said, Hawaii is what the rest of the world should be striving to become.
Barack Obama's father, for whom he is named, was from Kenya. His mother, Ann Dunham, was raised in Seattle. They met at the University of Hawaii. 2 years after Hawaii's statehood, on August 4th, 1961, Barack Obama was born at Kapiolani Hospital for Women and Children.
It seemed just fine. It was very neat and clean and upstanding. The best hospital here in Honolulu at the time. I believe that his mother must have gone in just a little after I did, because his number as a birth certificate is slightly after my twins' number, 3 numbers after.
The home address on Barack Obama's birth certificate shows his 18-year-old mother was still living under the care of her parents on Kalanianiole Highway.
We first saw little Barry, as he was known then, of course, soon after he was born, and his mom brought him to one of our gatherings. But we would see him regularly. He was a beautiful child and very, very friendly and outgoing.
When little Barry was 10 months old, his father moved to Boston to attend Harvard. And since his father failed to provide child support, Barry's grandmother, Madeline Dunham, went to work. Because Ann Dunham and her parents all wanted her to finish college, Barry was raised mainly by his grandparents.
Obama's grandfather and grandmother took over the role, or joined with his mother in the parenting side of it, and his grandfather in particular took on the role of a male figure in his life that was very, very much to his advantage. Stan was a friend to all of us. He was a working man. He managed a furniture store. He obviously was older than most of us, although some of us were graduate students. But he fit right in. He was a conversationalist, very avuncular, loved that little boy.
When he was 5 years old, Barack Obama attended kindergarten and then later 3rd grade at Noelani Elementary School, a public school not far from the University of Hawaii.
I remember him as being really cute. Yeah. That's what, nice and full. His face was, kind of chubby. Always smiling. Had a perpetual smile. Cute.
He would always be very well dressed, come to school very well dressed, very well mannered.
He was calm, collected from the time he was little.
He went by Barry then. So we'd get together, ride our bicycles around town and Little League, things like that.
Barack Obama was greatly influenced by his 7 years at Punahou, a school he attended from the 5th to 12th grade. Punahou in Hawaii is frequently compared to Exeter in New Hampshire or Phillips Andover in Massachusetts, part of America's top feeder schools for the Ivy League.
When the school was started, it's actually in the charter that all students be taught Christian principles. And so chapel and a religion course has always been required of all students.
In fact, there was even a class that they had back then was called Christian Ethics. And all 7th, 8th graders had to take that class. It was a time where you could take a pause from school and kind of reflect on Christian values, do unto others, with your classmates. And it was a real nice experience and sing and just kind of have that every week to kind of come together with your classmates.
I was the only black girl at that time in the school. I remember there were some of us who couldn't wait to light these candles. You get to put the candles out because you get to use the snuffer and put them out, and you get to hold it, and you get to walk down, and you get to sing Kumbaya, and we'd learn it in sign language. I mean, there were so many things that we did that were, absolutely phenomenal. Things that we learned, the education and what we got out of it was absolutely incredible.
The news reports started to talk about Barry Obama being a Muslim, and that really bothered me because I knew he wasn't a Muslim and that he hadn't been a Muslim, and it was ironic that, he went to Punahou, which was a Christian missionary school.
He was somebody who always had a very big personality. He was always smiling, and he was a kid that the teachers would, like if they had a question, they would ask him, what do you think about this? And now that I'm an adult, I realized that, there was something about him that the teachers really responded to.
He was very articulate, and he spoke well, he wrote well, and he never got in trouble, not that I recall. He never got any interims. So academically he did well. Citizenship-wise, he kept his nose clean. He was very polite, and it doesn't surprise me that because he was a good person and courteous and polite, that he attracted a lot of people. People were sort of gravitated towards him. He was very charismatic then.
He was a regular kid in the sense that he loved to play basketball. He was a great teammate, a very good friend. He definitely had something. There was something there to him, and I'm sure he could have done anything with it. To see him rise to such heights it's been amazing. But it's not something that I would say that wow, I never thought he was capable of that. He definitely was capable of that. He had an intellect and just a worldliness that really stuck out, and just his engaging personality would just make you feel very welcomed.
Kids growing up in Hawaii become familiar with the military. During the Vietnam War, when Obama was a child, Hawaii was home to 14 military bases. The entire island was a military town. Obama had friends who lived at Pearl Harbor, Hickam Air Force Base, Schofield Barracks, Kaneohe Marine Corps Station, Barbers Point, and up on the hill, everyone could see the Pink Army Hospital, Tripler, that took care of the wounded from Vietnam. Like most Hawaii children, Barack Obama experienced the war through his friendships with military children.
People don't realize on the mainland just how much of a military base Hawaii always has been and continues to be. If Barry Obama were competing on track in some sport, in basketball or tennis, with some other kid in Hawaii, some chances are very good that was a military kid. If he had a group of close friends, 1 in 5, 1 in 4 would be military kids. There are a lot of military kids in Hawaii, and Punahou School was for many years the school where the Pacific commanders sent their children. You come to have great respect and love for military families because you can see what they're going through.
Many of the positive attributes found in Barack Obama are a product of being raised in Hawaii. In an article in U.S. News & World Report, Obama made note of his even temperament, which he claims he draws from Hawaii. Obama said people in Hawaii generally don't spend a lot of time, yelling and screaming at each other. He said there is a cultural bias towards courtesy and trying to work through problems respectfully. Obama claims this Hawaiian temperament is reflected in his personality as well as in his political style.
Because it's an island, you have a forced interaction, whether you like it or not. You can't go live in your little, you can try, but at some point you got to go to the store, you got to go somewhere else. And because of that, you have this kind of interesting effect going on with people exposed to many, many different cultures.
The overarching ethic of Hawaii is diversity, which to celebrate, and for individuals to thrive in that atmosphere of community and a family. And that's the foundation for Obama.
It's the melting pot of the world, I think. Just think of two nationalities and you have it. You'll have them dating. It's there. Everything is there. Filipino with Japanese, Chinese with Korean, Vietnamese with Haole. Hawaiian with Samoan, Samoan with, Filipino. It's so mixed. It's so diversified there. So it's a great place to grow up, seeing the different cultures. You learn so much. The cultures, the food. It's amazing.
Everybody here celebrates everybody else's holidays and eats everybody else's food. And we like to think that, it's great fun to be able to have Korean lunch and Italian dinner and Hawaiian for breakfast or whatever.
It is about the heart. It's about, that aloha spirit gets to the heart. It gets to your essence as a person. It's not how much money you have. It's not how you dress in this way or that way. It's really about who you are as a person.
In contrast to the U.S. mainland, Caucasians living in Hawaii frequently married outside of their race. They married the native Hawaiians, the brown-skinned people from Polynesia, and they married Asians. Immigrants were welcomed and embraced by the native Hawaiians. Hawaii is the only state where the majority of its residents are mixed race. Many people are part Caucasian, part Asian, and part native Hawaiian. Because mixed race is normal in Hawaii, Barack Obama was able to grow up without the stigma and resulting anger or resentment other mixed-race children can experience growing up in other societies.
Everyone here in Hawaii is a minority, and we all grew up together with a greater degree of tolerance, I think, because in Hawaii, not everything's black and white. It's more brown and yellow and different colors of the rainbow. For Barack to grow up here, or Barry to grow up here and go to school here, I think it allowed him the opportunity to grow and to observe this and to see how, people from diverse backgrounds and different cultures and ethnicities could work together.
Barack Obama was raised in Makiki, a middle-class urban residential neighborhood that borders downtown Honolulu. The apartment is on the corner of Punahou and Beretania Street.
We'd go upstairs after basketball or something like that on a weekend, after body surfing or something. We'd go upstairs and Toots would be there, Toot, and she'd make sure that we were, fed, always asking if we were hungry. And his grandfather kind of just stayed there, Gramps, and just kind of sat out in his chair and taught us cards. We'd play cards with him, just different games. You could tell they loved him, and they loved all of his friends, without question. His grandmother was a beautiful, beautiful woman. Cared for him tremendously.
Jack was also one of the first people to hear young Obama's dream for his future.
Andrew Young was appointed by Jimmy Carter. He's the first black ambassador to the United Nations. And I guess it was being talked about outside. And Barry immediately said that he was going to become the first black American president. So we kind of laughed at him. We started cracking up. Rolling. It was great. It was great. We had a blast. Everyone was laughing. Guess we proved us wrong, huh?
Barack Obama's first job as a teenager was to work at a Baskin-Robbins located in the block behind his grandparents' apartment building.
Working at Baskin-Robbins, and so, that was, once again, that's an all-American thing. You work in an ice cream parlor. To be able to be a a kid who, you know, selling lemonade or working in an ice cream parlor like he did during the summers, to see him rise to such national prominence and really achieve a lot of things. You know, it really is the American dream. I mean, that's it right there.
Hawaii has always been a progressive society that looked at its problems and did something about them. For example, solar homes first appeared in 1975 when Barack Obama was a teenager. Wind energy development started 30 years ago, and the switch from analog to digital communications occurred in Honolulu about a decade ahead of other cities on the mainland. Today, Honolulu is trailblazing the electric car. Like all the other states, Hawaii had a very big problem with providing adequate medical care to all residents. When Barack Obama was 13 years old, Hawaii became the first state in the nation to provide universal health care. Today, almost 98% of Hawaii residents have some kind of medical coverage. As a result, the state of Hawaii has the longest life expectancy and the lowest infant mortality rate in the country. And the cost to deliver health care in the state of Hawaii is one of the lowest in the nation.
I was amazed at how fast people responded in a very positive way. So we had no problem getting it through. Everybody supported the idea. And I guess it's because in Hawaii, people think about other people too.
This is the world that the president grew up in. This is the world that softened his feelings about the world. You know, so I've had some black people on the mainland who say to me, yeah, he's the president, but he's not mad enough. He's black, but he's not mad enough. And I want to say to them, because he comes from Hawaii. You know, in Hawaii we don't have to be mad. You know, we can sit down and we can talk to each other. You know, and then work it out. I see it especially in his ability to be cool under pressure. You know, the Hawaiians have a concept called ho'oponopono. In this process of ho'oponopono, you never lose your temper. You sit and you go through the process of what has caused the problem, and then you look at both sides of the problem, and you find a solution that's going to be good for everybody. And I see this in his ability to be patient with the opposing parties and the opposing people. And some of those opposing people will you know, they'll say he's weak. They will say they will say that this aloha spirit that this particular man has, they will judge it as being weakness rather than a strength. And so in time what happens is that what they judge as weakness will end up being a strength, which is that's the old Polynesian concept of ho'oponopono. Be cool, keep your eye on the prize, and everything will turn in the direction what is good and right.